Yes, a very good evening, guys. In this session, we are going to start with a couple of questions of the May 20 RTP for accounts. Okay, so the next question appears to be question number 5, and the chapter is bank reconciliation statement. So what I'll do is I'll just have a small introduction of what BRS is, which is going to be sufficient to solve this question, and then we can start this question. So what do you mean by BRS? BRS is nothing but a reconciliation statement between our books of accounts and the bank books of accounts as far as each other balances are concerned. So we maintain the cash book which reflects the bank account ka balance, and the bank is going to reflect, or the bank is going to maintain a passbook which is going to reflect our balances. Now you will say, why do you need a reconciliation? We require a reconciliation because there could be certain differences between what we are maintaining and what the bank is maintaining. Yes, we are maintaining cash book, bank is maintaining passbook, but certain transactions may differ between us and bank. Why will there be a difference? Certain examples: we may issue a check. The check may be presented by our creditor a little later, because of which there's a timing difference. The minute we issue a check, we are going to credit our bank account because the balance is going to come down because of the payment, and the bank will have no clue about this because our creditor has not gone to the bank to deposit this, because of which there is a difference between what the bank is showing and what we are showing as each other's balances. This difference will come as a part of reconciliation. One more example: somebody has given me a check, मैंने उसको check बैंक में deposit कर दिया. When the person gives me a check, I am going to inform my accountant and he is going to increase the bank balance because it is a cash inflow for us. But when I deposit the check with the bank, it is going to take at least 3 to 4 working days for this amount to be reflected in the bank books of accounts. So this 3-4 days ka difference is a timing difference, and because of this also the balances as per my books of accounts and the balance as per the bank books of accounts will not match, and that will also be a part of reconciliation. These were the top 2 primary reasons as to why RECO happens. Other reasons include maybe a bank interest credited that we don't know, या फिर a direct deposit made by a customer, dividend received by the bank directly and we don't know. All these things are simply reasons as to why my balance and the bank's balance will not match up, and it is because of this that we are going to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so in this question we have a couple of adjustments, and let us see how these adjustments shape up. Chalu karenge? Hopefully yes. Bank reconciliation statement, question number 5 is what we are doing from the May 20 RTP for CA Foundation. Let us start reading the question, please. Prepare a reconciliation statement, okay, from the following particulars as on 31st of March 18. So we are preparing a RECO statement for 31st March ka closing balance. Your RECOs will always be prepared for closing balance. I'll compare my closing balance as per the cash book, and I will compare that with the bank's closing balance as per the bank's passbook. In the balance sheet, I will always have the balance as per the cash book. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Debit balance as per the cash book. Now important, when I have my money in the bank, that means bank is my debtor because it is my money lying with the bank. I am supposed to tell the bank, boss, you are my debtor because my money is lying with you. That means a debit balance as per our books of accounts represents a normal balance. Generally a person will always have a debit balance with the bank, signifying bank is my debtor. ठीक है, the amount is 18,60,000. That's okay. Check issued to creditors but not presented. What does this mean? मैंने check issue कर दिया है. That means I have told my accountant to credit my bank account. उसने कर दिया होगा. But my creditor to whom the payment must have been made, उसने अब तक उसके बैंक में deposit नहीं किया होगा, because of which there is a difference. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Then dividend received by the bank not entered in the cash book. मतलब some company has paid us dividend. That means the dividend has gone to the bank. The bank has credited our their books of accounts, which means I have become a higher creditor because this is my money. So his bank is my debtor. I am the bank's creditor. ये entry bank को पता है, मुझे पता नहीं है. One more reason as to why the differences will arise. Third, interest credited with the bank. मतलब अपने बैलेंस के ऊपर बैंक is going to give us interest, which means बैंक ने interest credit कर दिया है, अपने को पता नहीं है. One more reason of why the difference is coming up. Fourth, going forward, check deposited in the bank for collection but not collected by the bank, which means we have received the check from the customers. अपन ने entry कर दिया है in our books of accounts, but bank has no clue about it because how will the bank know कि अपने customer ने अपने को pay किया है? So we must have gone to the bank to deposit. It takes 2 to 3 working days for this amount to be reflected. One more reason of reconciliation. आगे, bank charges not entered in the cash book. Bank charges will obviously originate from the bank because they are the ones who will know it first. They will debit us. अपने को पता नहीं है. Again, difference has arisen. A check deposited in the bank was dishonored but no intimation received. Now when we deposit the check in the bank will know first if it is dishonored, so bank will be the first one to reverse it. अपने को पता नहीं होगा, अपन पासबुक देखने के बाद ही अपडेट कर सकते हैं. One more reason as to why the differences will arise. And last, bank has paid house tax on our behalf but no intimation has been received. मतलब bank has done some payment on our behalf, we do not know. Bank has entered, we have not entered. It will be a part of reconciliation. ठीक है, so all these are my RICO के items. What we are going to do, we are going to start, I think we are going to start from the cash book like this, and all these adjustments करने के बाद add less as the case is, we are going to arrive at the balance as per the passbook. बराबर. So let us start. We always start from what has been given to us. So we are starting from balance as per the cash book 18,60,000. This is what is our starting point. ठीक है, now let us go step by step. Checks issued to creditors but not presented. When a check is issued to creditor, I am going to draw a check and give it to the creditor. The minute I draw a check, my accountant has to be informed कि boss, my check has been issued. When I make the payment, I will tell the accountant to credit the bank account because this is going to be a cash outflow. So अपने books of accounts में मैंने अपना balance कम कर दिया है because the payment has been made. When a payment is going to be made, my balance is going to come down. So my balance has been adjusted with a payment, which means my balance has come down. But this guy, this creditor has not gone to the bank for whatever reason, so bank does not know. So what I'm trying to say is because of this adjustment, my balance of the bank account is less because मैंने माइनस कर दिया है लेकिन बैंक ने माइनस नहीं किया है. So since I am starting from the cash book, that means my balance is already less and the bank's balance is more. If I am starting from the cash book जो already less है, I mean because of me minusing the payment, and I'm traveling towards a passbook which has a higher balance, then in that case my job is to add it, and that is why this amount is added in the reconciliation statement. Note that अपन को बैंक के बुक्स के अंदर घुस के माइनस नहीं करना है. We are doing a simple reconciliation. What the bank has not done, अपने को कुछ करना नहीं है. We are simply finding the difference or the reasons of the difference. So my balance is low, that means my cash book balance, this balance is low. That means I'm traveling from a lower balance to a higher balance. I'll simply add it, and that is the first item of reconciliation. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Dividend received by the bank and not entered in the cash book. Dividend received is more like income received in the bank. If the bank has received the income, बैंक ने अपना बैलेंस मतलब मेरा बैलेंस बढ़ा दिया होगा, but अपन को पता ही नहीं इसके बारे में. So bank's balance is more because of this dividend, but we don't know. That means our balance is less as far as this transaction is concerned because अपन ने income add नहीं किया है. So bank's balance is more and our balance is less. That means we are again traveling from our lesser balance to bank's more balance. Traveling from less to more, I am again going to add this amount as well. ये भी अपना dividend add हो जाएगा 2,50,000. That is one more item of reconciliation. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Interest credited by the bank, again the same thing. An income has been credited by the bank, that means the bank balance has increased, our balance has not increased. अपने को पता नहीं है. My balance is less because of me not adding the interest. Bank's balance is more because bank has added the interest as my income. So bank balance is more, my balance is less. I am starting from my balance being less, I am traveling from less to more. That means I am again supposed to add the interest component as well. That is 6,250 will also be added. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. Then checks deposited in the bank for collection but not collected. अब ये उल्टा है. I have got the check. See, I will deposit a check which is my income ना. मुझे चेक मिलना चाहिए तब जाके मैं डिपॉजिट करूंगा. तो my my debtor must have paid me. I must have, so once I receive a check, I'll inform my accountant. This is a cash inflow. That means my accountant is going to increase, because a cash inflow है, he is going to increase the bank balance as a receipt. But bank को अभी इसके बारे में पता ही नहीं है. So maybe I will deposit the check later, or I must have deposited a check, लेकिन it takes 3-4 days for the check to be reflected in the bank account. So this timing difference की वजह से my balance is now more, because I must have received the check. So if I have received the check, my balance is more, bank's balance is less. And since I am starting from my balance, which due to this transaction is more, that means I am traveling from more to less. If I am traveling from more to less, I am supposed to subtract it. That is nothing but less an amount of 7,70,000 as a reconciliation item. So understand one thing, we are simply traveling from one balance to the other. एक transaction की वजह से if the other balance is more, I will do add. एक transaction की वजह से if the other balance is less, I will do less. So it's like that. Where you are traveling to and where you are traveling for is important. ये अपना हो गया 7,70,000. Then bank charges not entered in the cash book. उल्टा, बैंक हैज चार्ज द अमाउंट, बैंक हैज चार्ज द अमाउंट मतलब अपना बैलेंस कम हुआ रहेगा एज पर द बैंक, बट वी हैव नो आइडिया अबाउट दिस. सो इफ वी हैव नो आइडिया ऑफ द बैंक चार्जेस, अपन ने अपना बैलेंस कम नहीं किया है, दैट मीन्स आवर बैलेंस इज मोर एंड द बैंक्स बैलेंस इज लेस बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ट्रांजैक्शन, बिकॉज बैंक हैज reduced our balance by charging an amount. If it is charged an amount, that means it has the bank balance is less. Since the bank balance is less and we are traveling to a lesser amount, that is more to less, I am supposed to less it. So I'll also subtract 1,000 as an item of RECO as less. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. Then a check deposited in the bank but was dishonored, but no intimation received about is 1,60,000. So whence the check must have been received from a debtor, मैंने अपना बैंक बढ़ा दिया होगा because this is my check received. I do not know before the bank tells me कि भाई चेक डिसऑनर हो चुका है. तो मेरे को चेक मिलता है, मैं अकाउंटेंट को बोलता हूँ, मेरा बैलेंस बढ़ जाता है, मैं बैंक के पास जाता हूँ डिपॉजिट करने के लिए. नाउ माई बैलेंस इज मोर एंड द बैंक हैज नॉट एडेड इट बिकॉज द अमाउंट इज डिसऑनर्ड. So this dishonor का stuff the bank will know first and the bank will intimate me. So तब तक के लिए I must have increased my balance assuming that the check will clear. A normal assumption is the fact that check will clear. It is because of this that I will receive a check. I'll assume कि पैसा क्रेडिट हो जाएगा, but पैसा क्रेडिट नहीं हुआ है because check has been bounced. So my balance is more and the bank's balance is less. I am again traveling from my balance being more to bank's balance being less. Traveling from more to less, I am again going to subtract 1,60,000 and this 1,60,000 is also an item of subtraction. ठीक है, लास्ट एंट्री बाकी है अपना. बैंक पेड house tax on our behalf. So bank has done a payment, we do not know. When bank makes the payment, bank will reduce our balance, but we have no clue. So अपना balance already वही level पे है. Because of this bank's balance is less because of the subtraction. My balance is more because of not subtraction. So my balance is more, bank's balance is less. I'm traveling from more to less, and that is why I'm also subtracting 1,75,000, and that is how I ultimately reach the balance as per the passbook. Now the balance as per the passbook, this is going to be positive. If the answer is positive, that means it is going to reflect a normal balance, and a normal balance is the fact that if bank is my debtor, I am going to be bank's creditor. It is because of this, it is a normal credit balance as per the bank books of accounts. If this 13 lakh was negative, अगर आंसर नेगेटिव आता है दैट मीन्स आंसर उल्टा हो गया, और अगर आंसर उल्टा है तो बैलेंस भी उल्टा होगा. सो द बैलेंस इज गोइंग टू बी अ डेबिट बैलेंस एज पर द पासबुक. So that is how we are supposed to solve questions of BRS. All we have to do is understand whose balance is more, whose balance is less, and a transaction is impacting which balance. So अगर तुम्हारा एक transaction bank balance को impact कर रहा है and the bank balance is less and I'm traveling from more to less, I will do less and exactly vice versa. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया द क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 दैट वाज ऑन BRS. नो वर्किंग नोट वाज रिक्वायर्ड बिकॉज मेरे को सिर्फ एडलेस करना है. सो द क्वेश्चन वाज वेरी वेरी सिंपल. ठीक है, वी गो ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज a very interesting question, that is question number 6 on inventories. काफी interesting question है. Reason being, this is not a typical question that you normally get on inventories. Now again, a small intro about the inventories. What do we do in this chapter? इस chapter के दो major parts है. One is the calculation of the closing stock by simply doing addition and subtraction, that is maintaining a storekeeper's ledger. So have date, receipts, issues and closing balance. अगर कोई stock अंदर आया added, अगर कोई stock बाहर गया subtracted, and keep on finding the balance as per LIFO, FIFO, VAM as the cases. बराबर. Second part of the chapter is very interesting, which is in this question. Second part क्या बोलता है कि 31st December को अगर अपना year end है, if we are following a calendar year, generally the stock take should happen on 31st December. लेकिन in large companies जहाँ there are multiple go downs are also very very big, 31st December को stock take नहीं होगा because of the complication involved. तो maybe it will be 10 days late. तो maybe 31st December के बदले मैंने 10 Jan काउंट किया, 10 दिन लेट. So if we are counting the stock on 10th of Jan and if we want the closing stock on 31st of December, that's 10 days back, we will have to do adjustments of the 10 days के stock inflow and stock outflows, so that add less करने के बाद we arrive at 31st December का stock figure. And we have to understand one thing, add less has to always be at cost because closing stock is always maintained at cost. So अगर 10 दिन में कुछ परचेज किया है अपन ने, एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ, अगर 10 दिन में कुछ परचेज किया है, so that stock will be a part of 10th of Jan, but that is not a part of 31st because 31st के बाद परचेज किया है, तो we'll do subtract. Similarly, if some goods are sold in those 10 days, that will not be a part of 10th of Jan, but that was a part of 31st, so I have to add it back. So ऐसे एडजस्टमेंट करते करते we have to arrive at 31st December का stock number. This is the usual sums that we have done in our classroom section also and many other books also. Now ये sum में थोड़ा अलग है which we are going to do, and that is why this question is important. That is why we are solving this question as well. ठीक है, so we'll read the question, I'll tell you what the new thing is, and then we will have to find the closing balance as per the stock records. ठीक है, so we are discussing question number 6 and it is on the concept of stock valuation of the inventories chapter. ठीक है, चालू करेंगे पढ़ने का? Hopefully yes. Let us start reading question number 6 please. Let's start. Some company keeps no stock records, okay, but a physical inventory of stock is made at the end of each quarter. So that means every quarter में they are doing a physical stock take. ठीक है, and the valuation is taken at cost. Frankly sentence नहीं भी बोला होता तो भी valuation is always done at cost. आगे बढ़ेंगे. The company's year end is 31st March 18. ठीक है, and their accounts have been prepared to that date. Very good. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. The stock valuation on 31st March 18 was however misleading. ठीक है, and you have been advised to value the stock on 31st March 18 with the stock figure as on 31st December 17. Now this is something new. Normally as I said chapter में क्या होता है कि stock taking थोड़ा डिले होता है. डिले होने के बाद जो 10 days में transactions हुआ है that we are supposed to adjust and come back to 31st March का stock. ये सम में we have been told that you will be given the stock details of 17 and तुमको 17 के नंबर से add less करने के बाद तुमको 18 के नंबर तक आना है. Guys, that is why I said there are good questions in the RTP which are not regular type of questions, and the November 19 exam of costing was a very tough question, I mean a tough question paper compared to all other papers. So I can sense that the ICI is now going a little tough on you guys as far as costing is concerned, I mean as far as your accounting is concerned. तो तुम्हारा पेपर्स थोड़ा अभी टफ आने वाला है. दैट इज वाई द आरटीपी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी कवर्ड बिकॉज दे हैव सम टाइप ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर लिटिल डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द यूजुअल क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. द कॉस्ट ऑफ स्टॉक ऑन 31st December 17 एज शोन बाय द इन्वेंट्री शीट वाज 80,000. तो 31st मार्च का जो शीट था अपना, उस हिसाब से अपने को 80,000 स्टॉक पता है. आगे बढ़ेंगे. On 31st December stock sheet showed, किधर गया अपना, stock sheet showed the following discrepancies. तो whatever stock has been given to us of 80,000 उसमें कुछ discrepancy है, which means it requires adjustment. आगे बढ़ेंगे. A page total of 5,000 has been carried forward as 6,000. ये एक मिस्टेक हो गया, which means this requires adjustment in 80,000. Similarly, a total of the page had been undercast by 200. ये भी एक मिस्टेक है, एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा, कर देंगे. Important, third and fourth. Invoices of purchases entered in the book during the quarter from Jan to March totaled 70,000. Now, if the sentence ended here, that means ये purchases की वजह से अपना stock बढ़ेगा. So it is my job to simply add 70,000 to my stock of 31st December 17 so that the purchases will be a part of my stock. लेकिन there are some complications. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Out of this 3,000 relate to goods received prior to 31st December and the invoices entered in April 18, 31st March के बाद वाला April. These relate to goods received in March 18 totaling to 4,000. So these two things are also going to require adjustment to find the actual correct stock position. We'll adjust that when we have the solution. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Sales invoices total 80,000. Now if the sentence ended here, that means ये अपना goods बाहर जा चुका है. For my computation of stock, I'll have to subtract this. लेकिन सेल्स आर ऑलवेज एट सेलिंग प्राइस. मुझे सेलिंग प्राइस में से कॉस्ट एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा टू फाइंड द कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड एंड दिस विल बी सबट्रैक्टेड टू फाइंड द क्लोजिंग स्टॉक एट कॉस्ट. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Total so and so from Jan to March. Out of this 5,000 related to goods dispatched before 31st December and the goods dispatched to customer before March but invoiced in April are 4,000. That means this amount of sales of 90,000 also has a couple of adjustments to be made. Only then we can find the closing stock at cost. So these two adjustments 3 and 4 are very important. आगे बढ़ेंगे. ठीक है. During final quarter the credit notes at invoice value of 1,000. What do you mean by invoice value? Invoice value is the nothing but the value on the invoice and credit note मतलब it is more like a sale return. ठीक है. Had been issued to customers. I mean sale return has happened. Sales किया होगा हमने. Sales customers have given the goods back to us. In respect of goods returned during the period, ठीक है, the gross margin is 25% of cost. So if the margin is 25% of cost, we normally take the cost to be 100. That means the margin is 25 and the SP is 125. So 100, 25, 125, 1/4 of cost and 1/5 of SP. ये normal है, बहुत बार किया हुआ होगा. You are required to prepare a statement showing the amount of stock at cost for obvious reasons on 31st March 18 and the transfer of ownership takes place at the time of delivery of goods. So अगर तुम्हारा डिलीवरी हो चुका है तो तुमने इनवॉइस रेस किया है कि नहीं किया है, इट इज अ ट्रांसफर ऑफ ओनरशिप. ठीक है. सो नाउ दिस एज यू मस्ट हैव understood by now, very few questions are there in the ICI material also on this type where we are starting from 31st December, I mean the previous quarter, and ending on the current quarter's closing stock. Normally the questions are 10 days के बाद stock take हुआ है, 10 days के adjustment अपन करेंगे and we arrive at the closing stock figure. It is because of this that the RTP is important. ठीक है. चलो let's go step by step. Now if my objective is to find the closing stock on 31st March, that means our obvious thing is to start by the opening stock as on the 1st of Jan. That is nothing but the closing stock on 31st December 17. So first things first, let us start from my opening stock of the current quarter, and that is nothing but stock at cost, that is 80,000 rupees, and that is how we start the question. And एक चीज पढ़ेंगे एंड एडलेस करते करते वी विल अराइव एट द क्लोजिंग बैलेंस. ठीक है. नंबर 1, द स्टॉक ऑन 31st December 17 showed was 80,000 which has been just taken care of. Then on 31st December the stock sheet showed the following discrepancy. मतलब मिस्टेक है अपना. मिस्टेक नंबर 1, a page total of 5,000 has been carried to the summary sheet of 6,000. मतलब कैन आई से माई स्टॉक इज हैविंग 6000 का इनपुट इंस्टेड ऑफ हैविंग 5000? डेफिनेटली यस, दैट मीन्स 1000 ज़्यादा हो गया एंड तुम्हारे स्टॉक में रिकॉर्ड्स कॉस्ट पे ही होगा, तो मैंने 1000 से कॉस्ट बढ़ा दिया है जो मुझे एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा, विच मीन्स माई जॉब इज टू सबट्रैक्ट 1000 फ्रॉम द फिगर. दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस आई विल डू लेस 1000 एज subtraction overcast of 1000, that is 6000 minus 5000. ठीक है. Then mistake number 2, the total of the page is undercast by rupees 200. Undercast is as good as saying less. It means अपना एक नंबर 200 से लेस किया हुआ है. दैट मीन्स 80,000 इज an amount which is lesser by 200. I have to make it to 200's level, so I'm going to add 200, and since this is also at cost, I'm simply going to have an addition of rupees 200. ये अपना हो गया फर्स्ट दो मिस्टेक्स का एडजस्टमेंट्स. थर्ड एंड इंपॉर्टेंट एडजस्टमेंट, चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट. Invoice of purchases entered in the purchase book are Jan to 1870,000. So can I say that my invoices, एक minute, can I say that my invoices are 70,000? Yes. Are these invoices for purchases? Yes. So 70,000 के purchases are definitely going to be at cost only. तो अपने को सब कुछ cost पे adjust करना है. So there is no adjustment for margin required in this adjustment at least. ठीक है, अभी और पढ़ते इसके बारे में. 70,000. Out of this, 3,000 relate to goods received prior to 31st December 17. If the goods have been received prior to 31st December 17, that means ये अपने वो स्टॉक में आ गया होगा, बराबर. अगर वो स्टॉक में आ गया है तो अपने को ये स्टॉक में जरूरत नहीं है. तो इट इज माई जॉब टू एंश्योर दैट दिस 3000 इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ माई स्टॉक, एंड इफ इट इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ माई स्टॉक तुम इनवॉइसेस के वजह से उसको ऐड कर दोगे. सो इट इज माई जॉब टू एंश्योर दैट दिस 70,000 में से आई एम गोइंग टू सबट्रैक्ट 3000 because this 3000 is already a part of the previous closing stock of 80,000. That is because I had received the goods in the previous quarter. तो मैं तभी ऐड कर दिया होगा. अभी 70,000 के अंदर वो अमाउंट बैठा हुआ है, तो when I add 70 I'll be also adding that 3. that means 3 डबल काउंट होगा. लास्ट टाइम के क्लोजिंग स्टॉक में भी आएगा एंड अभी के परचेस में भी आएगा. सो इट इज माई जॉब टू reduce 3000. सो एडजस्ट रुपीज 3000 फ्रॉम 70,000. आगे बढ़ेंगे. देन वी हैव हाँ, इनवॉइसेस एंटर्ड इन अप्रैल 18 रिलेटिंग टू गुड्स रिसीव्ड इन मार्च फॉर रुपीज 4,000. मतलब ये जो है इनवॉइसेस अपन ने किया है अप्रैल में. द फैक्ट दैट इनवॉइसेस अप्रैल में गया है मतलब इसका इनवॉइस मार्च में नहीं है. अगर इनवॉइस मार्च में नहीं है मतलब इट इज डेफिनेटली नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस 70,000, बट आई नीड टू मेक इट अ पार्ट ऑफ 70 बिकॉज एक्चुअली आई फिजिकली रिसीव द गुड्स. सो इट इज माई जॉब टू एंश्योर दैट दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ 4,000, आई मीन दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ 70,000, एंड दैट इज नथिंग बट एन एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ 71,000 बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एडजस्टमेंट. 70 includes 3, but 3 is a part of opening, so I should exclude it. 4,000 इनवॉइस में नहीं है बिकॉज इनवॉइसेस अप्रैल में है, एंड 70,000 are the invoices of March. मतलब 70 is excluding 4,000, but goods तो physically पहुंच गए अपने पास, so it is my job to add it. So I should include 4,000 here, which means, and ये purchases है, so my stock is going to increase, which means I need to add 71,000 in my adjustment in the solution. So this 71,000 is added in the statement. ठीक है, क्लियर. आगे बढ़ेंगे. एडजस्टमेंट नंबर 4, सेल्स इनवॉइस टू कस्टमर टोटल 90,000. नाउ अगेन द सेम थिंग, सो दिस टाइम इट इज सेल्स, सो इट इज सेल्स इनवॉइस. Sales invoice appears to be 90,000. Now if the question ended here, it means इतने अपन ने goods बेचे हैं, तो this is an outflow of goods, but this 90,000 is obviously the selling price. So what I would have done, I would have found out the cost of these goods and मैं cost minus करता because this is a goods का outflow, बराबर. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इट इज माई जॉब टू सब्ट्रैक्ट द कॉस्ट, लेकिन इसमें कुछ एडजस्टमेंट करने हैं, ओनली देन वी विल डू द एडलेस. ठीक है. देन आउट ऑफ दिस मतलब 90,000 के अंदर 5,000 related to the goods dispatched before 31st of December. So if the goods were dispatched before 31st of December, that means they would obviously be subtracted from the stock valuation of December. मतलब ये goods जो है वो 31st December के stock valuation में माइनस कर दिया होगा. Now when I do further minus 90,000, it is a double subtraction. So my job is to ensure that this 5,000 should not be a part of 90,000, because सेल्स का इनवॉइस तो 90 का है एंड 5,000 इनवॉइस जो है वो तुम्हारे इनवॉइस के अंदर बैठे हुए हैं. सो दिस सेल्स इंक्लूड्स एन इनवॉइस ऑफ 5,000 जो गुड्स मैंने माइनस कर दिए. So it is my job to ensure that this 90,000 is excluding the 5,000, but 90,000 के अंदर 5,000 है because वो invoice अभी किया हुआ है. So 90 includes 5,000. I don't want that, so I should exclude 5,000 from 90,000 so that they are not taken again. This has already been subtracted during the previous quarter. तो वापस subtract क्यों करूँ? 90 के अंदर subtraction होने वाला है, तो I should ensure कि वो subtract ना हो, so exclude that from my 90 का number. And 5,000 भी selling price पे है, 90 भी selling price पे, so both are comparable. Clear? Hopefully yes. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Then what it says is goods dispatched to customers, ये वाला line, goods dispatched to customers बिफोर 31st मार्च, मतलब फिलहाल ये वाले क्वार्टर में, बट इनवॉइस इन अप्रैल. अभी उल्टा हो गया, वी हैव डिस्पैच द गुड्स लेकिन इनवॉइस किया अप्रैल में. अगर इनवॉइस किया अप्रैल में मतलब दिस अमाउंट ऑफ 90,000 के अंदर वो नहीं है, लेकिन हमने गुड्स डिस्पैच कर दिया है. दैट मीन्स वी हैव टू एंश्योर दैट दिस 4,000 इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सेल्स फॉर सब्ट्रैक्शन. सो इट इज माई जॉब टू एंश्योर दैट 4,000 is a part of 90,000 because 90 is invoices and invoice 4,000 का अप्रैल में हुआ है, तो ये invoice यहाँ पे है ही नहीं. तो my job is to ensure that this 4,000 is a part of 90,000. Add less करने के बाद I will get 89,000 and all these obviously are selling prices and I cannot adjust selling price from my cost of stock. So this selling price corresponds to 125. What corresponds to 100? I will get some number after doing cross multiplication. That is nothing but 89,000 minus 20% or minus 1/5 of the selling price to get the cost, and that cost, because ये sales है, it represents the goods का outflow. It is because of this I will subtract from the stock computation, and this is how the subtraction is. 89,000 का 1/5 कंपोनेंट माइनस कर दिया है from 89,000 and that is the cost of the goods dispatched. So if I take on the calculator 89,000 into 4/5, I will get 71,200. That is nothing but 89,000 less 1/5, and that is how I adjust my adjustment number 4. Important. Last, during final quarter, credit notes of the invoice value 1,000 of the invoice value 1,000. एक मिनट, पेन चेंज करना पड़ेगा. 1,000. Yes, this has been issued to customers in case of goods returned. That is, customers are returning us the goods, मतलब अपने लिए goods अंदर आएंगे, so I have to add this 1,000. I cannot add directly because customers are going to return at invoice value. उनको cost पता ही नहीं है, तो it is my job to ensure I add this 1,000's cost. So 1,000 corresponds to 125. What corresponds to 100? Again 1,000 में से I will subtract 1/5 component, that is 200 rupees, and this I will add because this is a cash, cash क्या बोल रहा हूँ, goods का inflow. So I will add in the stock and add less करने के बाद ultimately I'll get the closing stock at cost. बराबर. So as you can see, this was a very unique question because generally these kind of questions are rare or less in our study material. So that's what makes the RTP a very interesting thing to cover before the exam. ठीक है. So one more question gone. Question number 6 is gone, and in the previous one question number 5 was gone. Let us now move ahead with question number 7, and that 7 is on the concept of depreciation. Yes. Now a small intro. I think this concept is on the revaluation. We'll quickly discuss what revaluation is, what depre is, and then we will jump on this question. Now, what do you mean by depreciation and why is it important in books of accounts? एक minute, let me have a straight line first. Okay, now depre is nothing but cost allocation of the asset over its useful life, and that is in sync with the matching concept of the accounting concepts. We need to ensure कि अगर sales है एक period का, then उसी period का cost मुझे subtract करना है, only then will the sale match with the cost and then the profits can be found out. Asset का cost होता है से 10 lakh, 15 lakh as the case is. कॉस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, लाइफ इंपॉर्टेंट है. द लाइफ ऑफ द एसेट इज 5 years. तुम उसी एसेट से 5 साल तक रेवेन्यू अर्न करने वाले हो बिकॉज द एसेट इज गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस गुड्स. सो हाउ कैन यू टेक द कॉस्ट ऑफ द एसेट इन 1 year when you are going to earn revenue from that asset for the next 5 years? So it is not correct. It is because of this that if the asset is going to be used over 5 years, if the asset के थ्रू तुम गुड्स बेचने वाले हो for the next 5 years, then it is important that you also spread the cost of the asset over 5 years, and this spreading of cost over the life of the asset is nothing but called depreciation, and that is how depre is to be accounted for in the books of accounts. That is the reason why we maintain book depre as a cost and not the assets cost as a cost in the P&L. Barabar? That is in sync with the matching concept principle. What we are going to do in this sum is nothing but something called as revaluation. Now let's talk a little bit of revaluation quickly before we start the question. Now suppose it is the first time of upward revaluation. Important concept है, थोड़ा ध्यान दो. Suppose it is a first time upward revaluation. What is the effect? What we do is add to my asset, and we are going to do add in the revaluation reserve on the liability side, that is a part of capital. One effect is add to asset, one effect is add to reserve. Suppose first time there is a downward revaluation. Agar first time there is a downward revaluation, then the effect is less from the asset because downward revaluation, and then we also debit to profit loss account, that is because it is a fall in the value of the asset. These things are to be done when there is a first time revaluation. Now let us come to the second part. अगर तुम्हारा first case है, that is first time upward revaluation, and then you revalue downwards later after 1 year, 2 years as the case is, then the downward has to be first adjusted from the revaluation reserve. अगर वो कम पड़ता है, then the balancing figure will go to profit loss account as per accounting principles, because तुमने पहले reval reserve बनाया था. You first use the revaluation reserve to bring down the value of the asset, and if it is still not sufficient, only then go to profit loss account. इसका exactly उल्टा will happen in case of subsequent revaluation, in case of first time downward revaluation. इसका exactly उल्टा. First time अपन ने किया downward revaluation, and after 2-3 years we are going to do upward revaluation. The amount of the upward revaluation will first be credited to P&L to this extent, and अगर कुछ shortfall है, then the balancing figure is going to go in the revaluation reserve in the liability side in capital. So this is the accounting that is going to happen in case of first time revaluation and subsequent revaluation, again upward downward as the cases. Now we are going to do a sum जहाँ पे ये concept use नहीं हो रहा, but simple concept use हो रहा है. But since we are discussing revaluation, I have introduced you guys with the basics of the concept as well, and this is more than enough to start question number अपना है question number 7 on depreciation. Now again, one more thing I forgot to discuss before we start the question is a change in the estimate of the useful life. Suppose अपन ने asset buy किया 1 lakh का, हमने सोचा कि the life is 10 years. That means we are going to write out depreciation of 10,000 every year. That means after 3 years we are going to have 10,000 into 3 written off thrice. That means 70,000 is going to be the new WDV of the WDV of the asset. Now 10 years was our original forecast, which means after 3 years 7 years are remaining. Suppose now we feel, depending on the asset's use or otherwise, that now the asset will not last for 7 years but it will only last for 5 years. then in that case you simply divide this by 5 and the next year's depreciation is 14,000, and this is nothing but accounting for a change in the accounting estimate, and the fourth year is taking the hit of the additional depreciation because we have changed our assumptions. This is how questions need to be done in case there is a change in the estimate of the useful life of the asset. And this is more than enough to solve the next question on this concept, that is depreciation. चालू करेंगे hopefully. Yes, let us read. A plant and machine costing 10 lakhs. अरे ये पेन कहाँ से आया? Okay, a plant and machine costing 10 lakhs is depreciated using a straight line method assuming 10 years working life. ठीक है, for 4 years. मतलब 10 लाख का असेट था, नो रेसिडुअल वैल्यू मेरे ख्याल से, एंड 10 ईयर्स का लाइफ, मतलब द डेप्री इज 1 लाख एवरी ईयर. 4 साल के बाद एट द एंड, इट इज मेंशन्ड एट द एंड ऑफ 4th year द मशीन वाज रीवैल्यूड बाय 40,000. That means revalued upward. So now we think that the book value of the asset is not reflecting its true picture. So might as well let's show its correct valuation. So we will do a revaluation. Upward reval means I'll do plus 40,000. ठीक है. The remaining useful life was reassessed. Tell me, अगर original life 10 साल का है और अगर 4 years जा चुका है, what is the remaining life? Obviously 6, because 10 minus 4 is 6. But after reassessing, they have realized that the machine will still last for 8 more years. That is nothing but a change in the accounting estimate of the useful life of the asset. ठीक है. Compute the debris for the 5th year. So it is simple. We will start from 10 lakhs. We will subtract depreciation of 4 years as per the old estimate. We will find beginning of the year ka WDV. Then we will adjust for the upward revaluation, and whatever number comes, that number will now be divided by the new further estimate of the useful life, and whatever answer comes, that number is going to be debited in the profit loss account as depreciation, which takes care of the adjustment for new depreciation and for revaluation as well. वो एक नंबर में सब कुछ चिपक जाता है. ठीक है. सो वेरी सिंपल, डजंट रिक्वायर एनी वर्किंग नोट्स एज वेल. वो फटाफट तुम समझ जाओगे. सो इट्स वेरी सिंपल टू अंडरस्टैंड. लेट्स स्टार्ट. द कॉस्ट इज 10 lakhs, द लाइफ इज 10. दैट मीन्स द अमाउंट ऑफ डेप्री एवरी ईयर इज 1 lakh. वेरी सिंपल, 10 lakh अपॉन 10. 4 साल हैव बीन डन. दैट मीन्स 1 lakh इंटू 4. उतना depreciation must have already been charged to the asset, which means my WDV of the asset is 6 lakhs, and that 6 lakh is nothing but 10 lakh minus 4 lakhs of 4 annual depreciation. ठीक है. That means 6 lakhs is the opening WDV, and now in the beginning of the 5th year we thought that the asset is going to increase by 40, because of which the value is now 6 lakh 40 in the books of accounts. If nothing was mentioned, this 6 lakh 40 would have been subjected to depreciation for the remaining life, which would have been 6 as per the old estimate. But because the asset's life is now being reassessed to 8 years, I will now subject this 8 lakh 40 to 8 years. Therefore 6 lakh 40 upon 8, this is the debris in the books of accounts in year number 5 in the P&L account, and that is how you solve such questions. The concept that I explained about the revaluation reserve upward downward was something additional. Since we are doing revaluation, तो मैंने वो concept भी explain कर दिया ताकि आगे कुछ doubt नहीं आए. Sorted. So we have done question number 5. We have done question number 6. Okay, 5 was on BRS. We have done question number 6 which was on stock, and we have also done question number 7 which was on depreciation. And well, in the next session we will be starting with the other questions. So this is how we are going to solve. We are going to solve the revision of all the RTPs. Hope you guys have understood, and hope you guys realize the importance of RTP. As you can see, there are different type of questions that we are going to solve, and this is going to be as quick as we have just done. So I think this session has lasted probably for less than 40-45 minutes. So एक घंटे में 3-3, 4-4 sum अपने हो सकते हैं, which means a total of all RTPs, if we cover 100 sums, I think 35 to maximum 40 hours में अपना पूरा कंटेंट हो सकता है. I think it would be definitely done within 40 hours, keeping this speed in mind. ठीक है, so this was just a small introduction of what is going to happen in the revision course, and if you find this helpful, please let me know and fill the Google form and we will get back to you. ठीक है, alright, bye bye, stay home and stay safe as usual. Alright, bye bye.